I just watched Greg Doucette's video about me. I'm kind of salty. Suck my balls. Suck my balls, Greg. Uh-oh. Stop! No! Bang! Oh.
Coach Greg, and it's not good. We're talking about Togi again, and so obviously it's going to be a nightmare. A living nightmare. Togi bests entire life savings on black and loses. Of course he loses.
I gambled away my life savings on Plinko balls.
And I gotta get it back. Give him the money! Give it up! Stop! No!
Previous to this, he was on a Larry Wheels podcast interview where he talked about gambling. Said he had it under control. Remember, this was recorded before he lost his entire life savings.
That's because I was gambling in an attempt to make my money back to pay off my $20,000 of debt, which obviously didn't work.
And so where do I even get started? I've watched all this stuff, and so I'm going to start at 48 minutes into the video. This is Togi talking about his gambling non-problem.
So with gambling, how do you have self-control not to go above and beyond and gamble everything away? And then how do you see yourself in not 5, 10, but the rest of your life never falling back into these old habits with gambling?
And so Larry Wheels literally asked him, so how do you have self-control with gambling? Because we know we wouldn't want to, like, I don't know, gamble away your life savings.
So here's the thing. A lot of people that have these serious issues with drugs and gambling, they fail to realize that nothing is free. I'm very cautious in every activity I do, that everything I do is going to have a consequence. Everything I do is going to negatively impact my life.
I mean, he's very cautious with everything. He never would bet his entire life savings on black and lose, of which he did a few days later. I mean, he has no drug problem whatsoever. I mean, he goes from one addictive drug to another. For example, he'll only sniff creatine for a month or so, and then stop doing that, and then go to Xanax, and then use that for a couple weeks, and then switch over to something else. And so he hops from one addictive drug for another. And so he's got a game plan. You could never fall into any problems doing that, right? Do I even have to say in response to this?
Even though when it first starts, it seems very innocent, because I've fallen in and out of drug addiction in the past. So I'm very, very conscious of my habits. Like sometimes we get a little bit out of control.
Did he just say he's literally fallen in and out of drug addiction in the past? Yes, he's using addictive drugs right now. Does anyone think that it's a good idea to have a game plan to, I'll use one addictive substance for a little bit and I'll switch to another? Eventually, you're going to go all in. You're going to go down a downward spiral and never get out of it.
Oh my God, I gotta win something, bro. Something's gotta change, bro.
And so does this sound like a good idea? He bet his entire life savings on Plinko and so on, kept betting, eventually had no money left. He owed $10,000 to his clothing manufacturer to get the clothing out, but he didn't have the $10,000 to cover it.
And so now I need to figure out how to get $10,000. All right, let me make a text.
And so he called up a number of his friends. Friend after friend eventually convinced this poor sucker to give him the $10,000. And you know what he did? Oh yeah, of course. He put down the $10,000 for the clothing, sold the clothes, and lived happily ever after. No, he went to gamble again.
Looking at that money in my crypto wallet, I just had a crazy idea. And some of you guys are gonna hate me, and some of you guys are gonna call me stupid, but hear me out. What if I double the money, pay back the homie, plus 1,000, and then I pay the clothes? No problem.
He bet it all. Again.
I will never stick to one drug for too long of a time. Am I addicted to vices 100%? But I'm very conscious of what I'm taking. Like say, I won't do cocaine for more than a month. Maybe do cocaine for a month, take 4 months off. Something like Xanax, only 2 weeks. It's super addictive. Take 2 months off.
And so yeah, so I go from gambling on Plinko to Russian roulette. You know, I switch from one gambling to another. I have it under control, said every gambling addict ever. Every drug addict ever said, I got under control. It'll never happen to me. He's 21. And not only is he 21, he's on performance-enhancing drugs. Do you think that's going to perhaps alter the mind? He's drinking alcohol, sniffing creatine, doing various drugs, going from one drug to another, all the while gambling. You think this is going to end well?
Maybe I'm just going to eat the living shit out of my words one day and be under a bridge homeless from gambling.
His friend literally uploaded a video on YouTube, and I don't know how they do this when you're homeless, but he uploaded a video. He's living under a bridge homeless. If the guy was hanging out with Togi, he said, he made a video, I watched the entire thing. How hanging out with Togi, it ruined my life. And so you go from one thing to another. They were on the beach, they were approaching girls and saying, who's natty, who's not? They looked at the two and they said, hey, I think Togi's natural. And Togi was so upset, he was distraught. What do you mean I look natural? And so this guy literally, who is his friend, is now homeless. Nate Udi.
And then my good old pal Togi decided to show up. And let me tell you, when he moved in, that is when things started to go downhill. So I remember one of the first nights that Togi had moved in, and he was like, hey, let's do a stream. You can come on stream and gamble with me. It'll be fun. It'll be great, you know? So that's what I did. And before I knew it, it was 9 a.m. and I'd lost thousands of dollars.
Oh, get out. Oh, get out.
No, no, no.
So close.
Okay, how much do I have left?
You have $142. I say
So we gotta just send it all.
I say you do 142.
I'm going to teach you a thing about gambling. The more you do it, the more for certain you're going to lose. The odds are rigged in the favor of the house.
But he kept telling me we're due, we're gonna win big, we're gonna win eventually, and I believed him. Like, you can't lose forever, right?
Hear me out. Just listen to the statistics here. This is 1 in 16,000, right?
Yeah.
I've put through 46,000, and I've only hit it one time. So it's due.
You can't beat the system. You can't play Plinko and say, well, if I play eventually, I'm going to win. You might win the first hand, the second, so on. But if you continue, eventually, the odds even out. And unfortunately, the odds are stacked in their favor. That's how they make money. And so you cannot physically win. It's not possible. Well, technically it's possible for a short period of time, but if you do it for infinity, eventually you have to lose.
But no, I was actually wrong. You can, in fact, lose forever, because that's exactly what we f***ing did. And so it was a brutal, about 2-week span of just staying up almost every night, rinsing away hundreds of dollars. And I've came to the conclusion, the casinos exist for a reason. It's because that they are always going to beat you.
And so here's the thing, you're addicted to the dopamine.
You can see him f***ing shaking. And this is what it's all about. Max risk, max reward.
You know, dopamine, that chemical that's released, for example, when you're sniffing creatine, it's a reward center of the brain. When you're doing things positive in your life, your body releases dopamine. So, for example, you study hard for a test, you get a good mark on an exam, it releases dopamine. You exercise harder than last time, you train hard on the bike. You win a race, you release dopamine. It's a feel-good hormone. You feel good about it. The problem is you feel good when you win a lot of money in gambling. But the chances are over time, you're going to lose more often than you win.
Okay, Forrest. That's huge! Boom!
And so you're being positively rewarded when you win. And when you lose, well, you keep playing because you are chasing that dopamine. You need to win to replace the feelings of feeling bad.
Everybody goes into gambling like, oh, I'm going to make money for nothing. It's something for nothing. But then it sneaks up on you and you lose your money.
And so Togi, he gambles his entire life savings. And what does he do? He doesn't smarten up. He borrows $10,000 more. And lo and behold, do you know what happens? He wins.
God, say my company. I'm fucking dripping into sweat. Please. One time!
And so what do you think that does? It positively reinforces him that, you know, if I just keep at it, I'm going to come out on top. Problem is, eventually he will not. What if he hadn't have won that? He had to bet his friends $10,000, lost it all. Now he owes the clothing company $10,000, so he can't get the clothes to sell to make the money. He owes his friend $10,000. What's he now going to do? He has to borrow $20,000 from another friend to pay back his friend and the clothing company. What if he bets that and loses? It goes on and on and on. Eventually, you hit rock bottom. Or you find somebody that's pissed off and they end you.
At the end of the day, these are horrible habits, but it's a tricky balance because gambling's part of my brand too. So it sometimes gets a little bit out of control.
a little bit out of control. You bet your entire life savings, it was close to $200,000. That's a lot of money even for Coach Greg to lose. Now, if I lose $200,000, it's a little bit out of control. I can live with that. That's kind of about the money I make in, well, a couple videos on YouTube. I can afford that. But for Togi, $200,000, it's a lot of money. And so if you bet all your money and lose it, it's not a little bit of a problem. You just fucked up your whole life.
I feel confident in my ability to like keep myself under control, but you know, maybe that's just arrogant because if you've seen some of the gambling habits that I've done on stream, it's completely so.
Yeah, we've seen your gambling. We've seen you lose all control. There is no ounce of control. This
Bang! Oh.
If this is Togi under control, then what's Togi out of control? I don't know how to comment to this.
I have really like nothing to lose. I have all my friends, my family, and myself, and I don't need money for any of those things.
You have your life to lose, your health. That counts. If you've already lost all your money and your friends and so on, you can still lose yourself. Literally, yourself. Amongst the gambling, the drugs, and so on, you can lose yourself. As you know, I've already made a video going over Togi's blood work, saying how horrendous it is. I made suggestions he might have a bone marrow disorder, he might have chlamydia, a host of other problems. What does Togi then decide to do? Well, he claps back. Of course he does. And it's not the clap chlamydia. He clapped back at Coach Greg.
I guarantee you his blood work has been worse. Greg, in a podcast, was talking about how he ran 700 milligrams of tren for like 5 months. Oh, by nitroglycerin.
It was 1 week. I mean, Togi, if you're going to watch a podcast, at least get it right. I've never ran any dose of tren ever in my life, ever, for 5 months. Did I ever run tren for 700? Yup, did it for a week, couldn't handle it, side effects too severe. Lowered a dose to 500 milligrams. Perhaps he's confusing 500 milligrams with 5 months. Remember, the guy probably hadn't slept for 3 days. He's abusing all these drugs, different creatine and so on. He's on 1.5 grams of caffeine.
I guess we're gonna have to 100 millivanillas of Anadrol, 40 millivanillas of Superdrol, 600 millivanillas of caffeine because it's just one of those days. Well, it's always one of those days.
And so, does he actually make sense of the world right now? How is he functioning as a human being? And so he can't even get it right. I say I used tren for a week at 700 milligrams, and then I lowered the dose to 500. And so Togi's conclusion, Greg used 500 milligrams of tren for 5 months. And so do you understand this, the dopamine? He's lost $193,772, his life savings, but then later wins $20,000 back, with $10,000 of those dollars being from his friend. And so he's dancing around, excited, screaming, having the best time. He's still down $177,000. I mean, if we're doing the actual math, he's down $187,000 because he owes his friend the 10 grand. So did he actually win 20,000? If you bet 10 and they give you back 20, you didn't win 20 grand, you won 10. And so he's lost 193,000 his life savings, and he's won back 10,000. And he feels excited. Oh my goodness, yeah. Does that make sense? And so that is the addictive nature of gambling.
I just watched Greg Doucette's video about me. I'm kind of salty. Greg goes out there and talks about how my blood work, I'm on the verge of death. And he's on telmisartan. If he wasn't taking telmisartan, his kidneys would be stage 3. Yeah, that's how it works, Gregory. I guarantee you his blood work has been worse. Greg, in a podcast, was talking about how he ran 700 milligrams of tren for like 5 months. Oh, by nitroglycerin. Suck my balls, Greg.
Now, technically, even if I were gay and I wanted to suck his balls, would I be able to find them with the amount of gear he's blasting? And second of all, I was a week that I was on 700, not 5 months, but a week. And I posted, I believe, 8 times in my career, my blood work. And so feel free to look at my blood work and do a video on it. You can say, Coach Greg, here's video going over Coach Greg's blood work. Do the video. Was my blood work in fact worse than yours? Go and look at my blood work compared to yours and decide for yourself. Was my blood work worse than yours? In case you're wondering, Togi, about your telmisartan, you're doing 160 milligrams. The max dose for that is 80. 40 to 80 common dose. You're doing double the max dose. And so do you really think my blood work is worse than yours? Really? Do you really believe that? No wonder your kidneys are in the toilet, in the dumpster. And so remember, telmisartan can decrease blood flow to the kidneys And so please be more careful than last time. So some of the comments after Togi claps back. Greg Doucette, quit your yapping. Like, heavens forbid if I yap and it changes his life and gets him to lower doses, puts Togi on this earth for an extra 10 years. I mean, what a horrible guy that Greg is. Pin of shame. Well, at least I'm not pinning shameful drugs every other day. Beat it, Greg. Nobody listens to dinosaurs when it's concerning steroids, even though you would know a lot about it with your erectile dysfunction. Is this guy been banging Coach Greg? How does he know if I have erectile dysfunction or not? Literally, how? Please comment below. How would you know if I have erectile dysfunction or not? You got famous by dick riding the Trend Twins. I mean, are people this new to my channel that they think that the Trend Twins are what caused Coach Greg to be famous? Literally, I was famous before the Trend Twins were born. Look it up. Try doing more research than last time. Yapping. Greg, I'm going to eat you. Cuck Doucette. Boy, the children these days going to the sexual innuendos. One guy's gonna eat me, another guy's a cuck. What is wrong with you all? Oh, this is my favorite part. Handle it with maturity and talk to them personally, asking them not to advertise. Y'all think that I should be writing these famous influencers in DMs in secret, in private. Hey, Togi, it's Greg. I don't think you should gamble and take steroids anymore. Send. Do you really think that's going to make any difference ever in the history of the world? Will it ever matter? Imagine, I'm going to start private messaging everyone who's going to die from abusing steroids. Hi, it's Coach Greg here. Could you please stop? Send. You think that'll make a difference? Really? But yet I post a video on Togi, get 1 million views perhaps. 1 million people are going to say, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do steroids. It seems bad. It seems dangerous. Scary stuff. I write Togi in private. Hey, Togi. Hey, you might want to stop. This is Coach Greg. No one's going to care. And so the videos are what makes the difference. Y'all are commenting, this is not even his real channel. I see Togi on about 10 different channels. I don't know which one's the real Togi. From what I heard, he has so many different accounts because Instagram keeps deleting him because he's posting inappropriate content. And so what's his real content? What's his real channel? I think they're all real. And so wherever I comment. Here's what Togi actually thinks of Coach Greg, to all you haters out there thinking that Togi can't handle Coach Greg. Oh, poor Togi. Greg made a video about him. You really think he cares? Let me read what he actually said about Coach Greg. You should have seen what he did to the twins. Apparently, it got really bad. Nah, some coaches and clients just don't work well together. Not Greg's fault. So y'all think it's Coach Greg's fault that we couldn't get along with the Trend Twins? Even Togi, he knows better. Greg Doucette is genuinely the funniest fitness creator of all time. Didn't seem like an insult. Doesn't sound like he's putting me down. Maybe it's an insult. Gen Z, are we at Gen Z, X, Y? I don't know what level of Gen we are, but perhaps this is an insult. If somebody gives you a compliment in 2024, does that mean they're putting you down? Perhaps it is. I don't know. Such a unique delivery of rage bait while being hilarious at the same time and with caps. Does that mean it's cap? If it's in capital letters, does it mean it's cap? It's the opposite. It means no, he's not actually posting an ad. It's not an ad. Genius. And so perhaps if you have capital letters before, it's cap. And so the word that comes after genius actually means read book. Can you even say that?
No.
Can you even say that?
Gen Z now says regarded.
I'm regarded. I get it. Gen Z is now saying Coach Greg is regarded. And while we're at it, what another time to plug my products. Turk Builder and Geo2 Max. You know you want it. Code Greg 15% off. Before ever considering steroids, at least take the natty supplements, the best ones in the world first. Coach Greg 15% off. Turk Builder and Geo2 Max. Oh, this is just posted. Mogging Larry Wheels. And so let's see. Is he mogging Larry Wheels?
I guess we're gonna have to 100 milli vanillas of Anadrol, 40 milli vanillas of Superdrol, 600 milli vanillas of caffeine because it's just one of those days. Well, it's always one of those days.
And so he's got the shades on. He hasn't slept properly in 4 days. And so he's using 100 milligrams of Anadrol, 40 milligrams of Superdrol, and 600 milligrams of caffeine. Is this a week's worth? What is going on right now? I have, in fact, taken these amounts before, and I'm telling you, you can't just take these amounts. It's not good, especially all at the same time. Do you know how strong Superdrol is? 40 milligrams of Superdrol is a lot. The maximum amount I allowed any of my clients to ever take Superdrol in a day, 30 milligrams. He's doing 100 milligrams of Anadrol and 40 milligrams of Superdrol combined with 600 milligrams of caffeine all at the same time before going to the gym.
You know the Larry Wheels curse? It's like everybody that works out with Larry Wheels gets injured. I think it's because he works out so hard and people feel like pressured to keep up with him.
And so he goes into the workout knowing that a lot of people go to train with Larry Wheels to get injured. He convinces guys, perhaps the pressure's there, to do their best. You're overloading on performance-enhancing drugs, pre-workouts and so on before going to the gym. Imagine if you go and train with Larry Wheels and that's the last day you ever train. You got to ease up. And so he's pinning himself while driving the car. This is worse than texting and driving. This is not good. This doesn't make sense. And so he's bleeping this out. And so perhaps, do you think that this is glorifying steroids? He's saying, you know, I'm not glorifying steroids, namely testosterone. Testosterone is probably even better than I describe it.
Glorification is making something seem amazing when it doesn't deserve the title. But for me, in my experience so far, steroids are so fucking amazing, and I'm sure you guys to a large degree agree with me, especially you.
People that are watching this as he's pinning while driving his car, they're going to think, well, that looks like a lot of fun. I want to try it.
Hey, what's up? What up, bro? About to work out, and I was gonna pin my Superdrol, and it's like kind of old Superdrol, and it looks like super murky, kind of like jizz. Is it still chill?
I've pinned cloudy stuff before. I've been fine. You know what it could be is it's just crashing a little bit. You can pin the Superdrol. You can definitely pin the Superdrol. It's just gonna be a little like less comfortable because it's cloudy. It's crystals. That's all it is.
But it's cool. I'm not gonna like die or anything.
No, it's not gonna make you die.
And so Tanner's telling him to just go ahead and pin it. Now, personally, I would at least suggest that he reheats it. If the testosterone, anadrol, and so on is crystallizing, what you need to do is reheat it. Imagine you have Jell-O. When you have Jell-O, you have a powder and you have a liquid. You heat up the liquid, you mix the powder in it, it forms a solution. You have the solvent, the solute, they mix it together, it forms a solution. Sometimes it breaks apart. What you need to then do is reheat the items. But you don't want to just inject it as it is, crystals and stuff floating around. Please ensure what you're using is safer than last time. Now remember, never ever break the law. Only use performance-enhancing drugs with the advice and consent from your doctor, and I'm not your doctor.
In a parking lot, there's people.
And I stand corrected. He's not pinning while driving. He's drawing the solution while driving, then pulling over in a parking lot and injecting on the side of the road. Hopefully, there's less people watching than last time. How is Togi doing any of the math and how to dose? He hasn't got a clear head. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's hopped up on caffeine, hasn't slept for days. What if he injects the wrong amount? Trust me, I've coached people. People easily can make mistakes. I remember saying to somebody, do 1 drop of Clen. 1 drop. Drop. They thought it was a dropper full. They drop in the entire dropper. That's a full mill. They're wired. Coach Greg, what's going on? And back then, I wasn't Coach Greg. I was Coach Greg Doucette. But anyway, they are hopped up on Clen. I'm thinking, geez, why would you do that? It's a drop, not a dropper full. There are about 20 drops in a dropper full. And so they did 20 times the appropriate dose. I've also had people, I've said, do 0.1 ml. And they said, oh, 0.1, that's an ml. No, 0.1 is 1/10 of a mil. And so if you're not very good in math, very easy to make mistakes. And if you think you can win at gambling, of which it's literally rigged so that the house is going to win, then you clearly don't know anything about math.
All right, honestly, that was pretty buttery smooth. We feel pretty good about that. All right, cheerio.
I don't know if I want to even talk. And so enough of that. I've watched enough of Togi. I'm going back to his gambling problems. So if he doesn't have enough problems in life, we're going back to the gambling. Betting my business on black.
So I figured, why not just stay awake for 4 days straight and then sleep for 2 days straight?
You can't just stay awake. You can't bank sleep. You can't stay awake for 4 days straight and then sleep for 2. It doesn't work like that. If you're sleeping 8 hours out of 24, it's 1/3. You can't just think, I'll just stay awake for 3 weeks and then I'll sleep for 1 later. You can't just stay awake for 2 days, sleep a day, stay awake for 4, sleep for 2. It doesn't work like that. You need sleep every day on a consistent basis.
What are we doing? We're starting off the day with 6 donuts and some Starbucks.
And so not only is he on a shit supplement cycle, he's gambling, drugs, and so on, he's also on a shit diet. He's having 6 donuts for breakfast. Could it get any worse?
Long story short, I gambled away my life savings on Plinko balls. It was all live streamed.
But I've slept for 4 days. And I've had a bunch of junk food, and I'm chasing dopamine again. And so I got it solved. I solved the problem. I borrowed $10,000 from my friend. I gambled, and this time I managed to win. And so now I have $20,000, of which I owe 10 to my friend. I owe 10 to the boss. And so technically I'm flat broke, and I've lost my life savings, but everything's amazing. And I can't wait to gamble harder than last time. Like, imagine sitting there and gambling hour after hour after hour, putting more and more money in, and then expecting a different result. It's literally been the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You can't keep gambling on Plinko and expecting eventually to just hit it big. It doesn't work like that. Oh, I know. This day, I'm just going to continue to win all night. No. Rinsing 200K sucks, but spending $35 at Starbucks is just irresponsible. Togi has taught me to take steroids at 17 and gamble all my money on Plinko. Thank you, Togi. You have changed my life. Literally, Togi is carrying the gambling world of Plinko on his back. There was literally zero interest in this. Suddenly, Togi goes to YouTube, makes video about it, and kablamo! It's off the charts. The interest in Plinko is 100-fold what it once was. You see that straight line that's not moving anywhere and then it suddenly rises up? That's interest in Plinko since Togi came around. Rinsing that 10K from his friend was genuinely more painful than seeing the life savings disappear. Absolutely. I mean, it's one thing to lose your own money. It's quite another to lose someone else's money, especially that of a close friend. I actually had a close friend steal over $20,000 from me, not paid back, took to court, went bankrupt, declared bankrupt despite all this. So it's very, very sad. When you have friends that literally take advantage of you to this extent, it is a nightmare. Friend with me, no longer. 190K plus rinse is insane. Incoming Greg Doucette video. Greg Doucette is gonna have a blast with this one. I feel Togi will end up homeless. His gambled addiction is absolutely ruining his life. It's not good, and we're just fueling it. Can I get 10 shots of espresso on that? Bro is not okay. Look, when you're drinking 10 shots of espresso at once, 1,000 milligrams of caffeine, this is a lot. And that's not his only source of caffeine for the day. 1.5 grams of caffeine in a day. This is an addict. Not just to performance-enhancing drugs, not just to recreational drugs, to any drug. Caffeine is a drug. 1.5 grams, clearly abuse. He went to the doctor. Doctor said, 400 milligrams, that's about the limit. Togi's response, well, if the doctor said that, then definitely I can double it, because doctors, they always play it safe.
Today I did 600 milligrams of caffeine, and it's cool. I talked to my doctor, and she was like, you can do 400 a day, and if your doctor says you can do 400, like, doctors are pussies. I can't fucking 800 is cool.
That would be 800 milligrams. You're taking in 1.5. 1.5 grams of caffeine. If you want to stay natty, obviously you can get pre-workouts. This one has no caffeine, just have caffeine in it. We also have the hardcore pre-workout. We have creatine, Seco protein bars. They taste better than last time. They're even softer, unbelievable. 230 calories, 20 grams of protein. And for more energy, for increased endurance, bigger muscles, consider using Turk Builder, Ecti Builder, and GO2 Max. These supplements in particular in combination are going to help you more than ever before. That rhymes. Interested in any of these? Code Greg 15% off. And until next time, I am out.